Hey, Dan here from Bullets and Bourbon. Tonight I'm sipping on that Penelope Rio coming in at 98 proof. It's a good bottle. If you can get it at cost, go for it. Secondary's hitting about 220. On the nose, you're going to get that graham cracker, a little bit of cinnamon. On the palate, you're going to go ahead, you're going to hit that cinnamon and graham cracker and vanilla right off the bat. Very smooth, very easy sip at 98 proof. Very enjoyable. So cheers. I'm going to do something a little different tonight that we haven't done. I'm going to do a movie review, but instead of reviewing newer movies, tonight I'm going to go ahead and do 3 underrated movies that maybe they should do a remake because they were good. And I think if they would redo them now, they'd be instant hits. But before I dive into my 3, I'm going to have to hit my runner-up. My runner-up, the way it is, as it is, blown away. Absolutely classic, phenomenal 90 movie featuring Tommy Lee Jones and Jeff Bridges. Tommy Lee plays an Irish bomb maker seeking revenge on a Boston cop who's a bomb disposal agent, Jeff Bridges. The storyline's great. Music from U2 was on point in the 90s. Absolutely enjoyable. But I think with today, they could definitely redo it. Maybe not Irish, maybe some other way. Maybe not Boston because of the history was the Boston Marathon and it's kind of touchy. But I think in general, the movie was phenomenal. You don't have to remake it, but I think that'd be a great one to go ahead and try to remake. All right, coming in at number 3 for completely underrated movies from the 90s that could be remade is the movie Brain Scan. A lot of people, you probably haven't heard of Brain Scan. It features Edward Furlong from the Terminator series. It's a very underrated psychological thriller. It's about a teenager who takes part in an interactive video game where he kills innocent victims. Later, the murders become a little too real. And the video, with the way we're going with AI, with the octoluses and the virtual reality, I think they could redo this psychological thriller now to where it would hit a whole new group of fans that could relate to playing video games. So that's my number 3 movies from the 90s that should be remade that are completely underrated. If you haven't seen the original, check it out. I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon, Amazon Prime, and you can probably rent it for like $2 because it's completely underrated. So coming in number 2 for my 90s movies that are completely underrated, could completely be remade today, and I think they'd be an instant hit, would be If Looks Could Kill, featuring Richard Grieco. You know, that guy from the 21 Jump Streets back in the day. This was one of those movies when I was a kid that I was like, oh man, I want to be that dude. So the whole storyline is about a high school student who's taking a trip over to Paris, France. Somehow while he's in the airport, he has the same name as a CIA agent, and they think he's the CIA agent. And it's a completely action-packed, adventurous movie. As a teenager, young adult, absolutely phenomenal. Completely underrated. I think they could redo it today with the CGI and some of the action, the angles they got with films. I think this would be a kick-ass film. Everybody would line up to go see in the movie theater, or be very quick to go ahead and stream that on Amazon or one of the streaming networks. So that's one of the movies that's coming in my number 2 that's completely underrated that they definitely need to go ahead and remake sometime soon. If Looks Could Kill. All right, my number 1 90s underrated movie that could be remade and probably should be remade is a 1991 movie called Toy Soldiers featuring Sean Austin from Rudy, Lord of the Rings, you know who he is, Will Wheaton from Star Trek and Big Bang Theory. Absolutely classic. It's a movie about a group of boys that are attending a boys' boarding school where a bunch of terrorists come in because their families all have money. They hold them hostage and try to hold them for ransom. The boys get into a little bit of trouble. Completely action-packed, great plot, great action, great storyline. I think the new generation needs to experience it. If you haven't seen the movie, go ahead, search it on Amazon Prime. I'm sure you'll find it. Like I said, it's from 1991. To me, it's a classic, completely underrated, and they could definitely remake that movie, and it would be an instant hit today. So that's my top 3 movies. that are completely underrated from the 90s, possibly should be remade. And the runner up, like I said, Blown Away, you really don't got to remake that movie, but it's an underrated movie. If you were born after 1990, check it out on Amazon. And the three movies, like I said, number three, Brain Scan, number two, If Looks Could Kill, and number one, Toy Soldiers. All four of those movies, classics, underrated. You can find them on Amazon Prime. Go out, get yourself a pour, enjoy. And hey, if you got some connections in Hollywood, tell them to remake that shit because they are enjoyable and should be remade. Cheers.